Time for my daily Google search of strategic butt coverings. I am feeling lucky. Man, this SBC porn is the fucking best. Yeah, strategically cover that ass was good.
Well, handsome?
What
What are
the
you waiting
fuck?
for?
Is it? Is it? Ah, fuck. It's Anita Sarkeesian again. Now with season 2, apparently. So I know I should probably ignore her by now, but I just have a need to point out bullshit when I see it. It's like my OCD. I can't relax until I've pointed out some of the things wrong with her shit. So let me get through this as soon as I can. Maybe she's a little smarter this time. After all, I mean, she did begin addressing her critics when she called out the amazing atheists. She's turning a corner, I hope. I hope. All right, let's just get through this.
If you want to get to know a character, learn about their interests, goals, or desires, their butt is probably not going to give you that information.
Oh yeah, well my desires are her butt. But no, seriously, I don't play games and I wonder what their motivation is. Gee, now why are these people behaving this way? Perhaps their mother didn't hug them. Oh, wait, it's Anita Sarkeesian's narrative. Perhaps the patriarchy kept her down, blah, blah, blah. No, I just want to enjoy the mechanics of the game. I want to work in the system to complete it better than everyone else does. Don't get me wrong, the story is good, but I'm not exactly going to be looking at their butt for plot points. Looking at her butt will create a point, but not in the plot, if you get what I'm saying. Oh no, I'm a misogynist.
It won't tell you much about who they are or what they're thinking or feeling at any given time. But video game designers often choose to put tremendous focus on the butts of certain characters while going to almost absurd lengths to avoid calling attention to the butts of others.
I know it's been said a million times, but game developers cater to the demographic that primarily buys their products. Men. Yes, most men are heterosexual, and most heterosexual men like to look at women's butts. Even your little lap boy, John McIntosh. Then again, I think you might have castrated him years ago with the way he acts.
Anita, I'm sorry on behalf of my whole gender for this man's clearly sexist remarks.
Shut the fuck up, McIntosh. You had your video.
These carefully crafted choices developers make about camera angles and clothing significantly impact how players think about and relate to these characters.
Yeah, you're right. I don't feel I can relate to women with tight asses. Me not being a woman, for one. Oh, and also the fact that my ass looks nowhere near as good as Laura Croft's. And judging by the look of your ass, I can see why you say you can't relate either. But wait a minute. I see what's going on here. You're implying it's an impossible standard to live up to, and having it flaunted in your face is making you jealous. This is clearly a women's issue because men's bodies are never exaggerated to fit the collective stereotypes of attractiveness. And even if there were men in video games with six-pack abs and tight asses, it's not like you'd be the one to sexually objectify them like that. I mean, you're above that, aren't you?
Trying to get a glimpse of male characters' butts can feel a bit like wrestling with the camera. I tried to get a glimpse of Batman's rear end, but it's as if his cape is a high-tech piece of Wayne Industries equipment designed to cover up his butt at all costs.
Ooh, someone's trying to get a glimpse of some bat tush. You know, you could give him the bat signal if you really wanted to get under that cape, huh? Anita, you're so unintentionally hypocritical. I'm not sure if I should laugh or cry.
Third-person games with female protagonists typically display those characters in a way that gives players a full-body view. A classic example of this is the original Tomb Raider games, which are presented from a third-person perspective wherein protagonist Lara Croft's entire body is visible. In these early Tomb Raider games, Lara's butt is typically right in the center of the screen, a camera orientation which, along with the sexualized clothing the designers choose to outfit her in, places a tremendous amount of emphasis on that part of her body. In dozens of third-person games with playable female characters, the character's butt is brought to the forefront, and that's where the player's focus is directed. In Batman Arkham City, for instance, the player's gaze is drawn to Catwoman's behind, which is emphasized by her costume and exaggerated hip sway.
So wait, you mean you're telling me that they're giving a female character a feminine walk? You know, that is so fucking sexist. Every single character has to walk identically. I mean, this is just fucking ridiculous.
The ceremony! The Sisterhood will never forgive me if I am late.
Golden Axe Beast Rider makes extremely sure that we notice the protagonist's butt just before we take control and start playing. And here in Tomb Raider Underworld, to say that Lara's butt is being emphasized...
Okay, we get it, Anita. They show the girl's butts. Oh no, it's a butt! Ah! Alright, I'm just gonna skip to the next point that she makes, if there is any. I mean, I might just skip through the whole fucking video at this point, because she said the same exact fucking thing over and over and over.
Let's contrast the way that women's butts are emphasized with the sometimes absurd lengths taken to cover up or hide men's butts. If some of this footage looks jerky, that's because in some games, trying to get a glimpse of male characters' butts can feel a bit like wrestling with the camera. Common ways men's butts are hidden are by preventing the player from seeing below the character's waistline, or employing a more over-the-shoulder camera angle, which has the added benefit of keeping the character's butt safely out of the frame.
You remember what I was saying earlier, Anita? You know about catering to demographics that buy their product? Let me clarify that for you a little bit. Men are attracted to certain genres that women typically aren't, so they try to put stuff in that men like. Seeing there's a much larger market for genres that men gravitate towards, it's only natural that there'll be a lot more games that cater to men. It's not an active plot against all women by the patriarchy. It's supply and demand. And by supply and demand, I don't mean you supply the complaint and demand us to make it the way you want it. Companies create a supply to meet the demand of the market. If there was a market for games like Depression Quest, it wouldn't be a free game on Steam, now would it? You fucking moron.
The most amusing solution is to simply include a cape, tunic, long coat, or very conveniently positioned piece of tattered fabric, which actively prevents the player from getting a clear or sustained look at the protagonist's butt.
You know, as much as you think everything is motivated by sexism, it really isn't. A lot of it is to look cool or even have a function, like how Batman has a cape so he can glide through the air. Also, it's only recently that they've been able to accurately replicate cloth in real time, so they like to show off their fancy new toys. Giving them a cape or a cloth or whatever is an easy way to show off the effects. Is this really a hard concept to understand?
I like to jokingly refer to this aspect of a male character's costume as the strategic butt covering. Of course, not all games with male protagonists keep the character's butt obscured or out of frame like these games do. The real issue is one of emphasis and definition. A significant portion of third-person games with female protagonists call attention to those characters' butts in a way that's meant to be sexually appealing to the presumed straight male player.
Wow, this is just so deep and profound. They make the women have tight butts and men with large muscles and six-pack abs in their games? Almost as if it represents some kind of internal desire we all possess? I think she deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Wait, no, I was kidding. I mean, she did speak at the UN, and that means that this might not be that far-fetched that she wins the Nobel Peace Prize. Fuck!
In this regard, the way that women's bodies are depicted is significantly different from the way that men's bodies are depicted.
Yep, after hearing tons of feminist talk, I know that men and women's bodies are identical. Although I have been out of school for a while, perhaps I should just take a quick refresher course?
Puberty. In the male, the sex glands are called testes. In the female, ovaries. The sex glands now increase their own production of hormones, with the result that the physical differences between boys and girls become more pronounced. In the boy, the larynx and the vocal cords change, so that his voice acquires the deeper pitch of a man's voice. The shoulders become broader, the thighs grow longer, and the muscles become stronger. Hair begins to grow on the face, under the arms, and in the pubic area. Perspiration also increases. The girls also change. The hips broaden out, the thighs and shoulders become rounded, the pubic hair and underarm hair begin to grow, and the breasts begin to develop.
But wait, feminists say that women's and men's bodies should be depicted the same. Oh, well, whatever, never mind.
There are a few examples of male protagonists who are wearing clothing that calls attention to their butts.
Aha, so they do also show men in tight, sexy pants with revealing butts. I knew it!
But for the most part, men's butts, even when visible in the frame, are de-emphasized. Plenty of male heroes wear baggy pants or jeans.
You mean they model the characters' clothing after actual trends in what men and women tend to wear in real life? Those monsters!
Uncharted's Nathan Drake among them. But nothing about his visual design or the jeans he's wearing encourages you to focus on his butt as some sort of defining aspect of his character.
Shit! You mean this whole time I wasn't obsessed with looking at Nathan Drake's butt in those tight pants because the evil game makers wanted to force me to look at it? Fuck! I've got some serious thinking to do right now.
By contrast, this emphasis on the butts of female characters communicates to players that this is what's important. This is what you should be paying attention to.
I don't think men need any encouragement to look at girls' asses, and I know in the game they're not real, but hey, she's pretty hot for a polygon. Men are visual, and women are more to the kin of a game of roulette. You may hit the jackpot, but most likely you'll be depressed and questioning why you bothered attempting to play their game in the first place, especially if you're dating a feminist.
It communicates that the character is a sexual object designed for players to look at and enjoy.
Men wanting to get enjoyment out of their video games. Remember, Depression Quest is free on Steam. They should be playing that instead, you know.
And by explicitly encouraging you to ogle and objectify the character, the game is implicitly discouraging you from identifying directly with her.
Well, I know I said I can't relate to having a tight, sexy ass, but I do identify with their ass when I see it. I'm often told that I'm nothing more than an ass, if you can believe that.
Strategic butt coverings and camera angles that obscure characters' rear ends are not an accident. They are a conscious decision made with great care, and the flip side of this is that designers often do the opposite when the protagonist is female.
You know, when you come into a game with a preconceived notion, how is this sexist against women? You'll find a ton of stuff, much like if I wanted to see how TV ads are sexist towards men. You know, confirmation bias is a dangerous game, lady. I know you have your circle of white knight yes men, but your opinion is not fact, and my opinion is not fact. But I'm not here making accusations about things being sexist. I'm here showing you why you are wrong. My opinion is irrelevant. Facts are what matter. Unfortunately, you overlook basic economics, and I'm not sure what else to do. You're hung up on bullshit. What can I say?
This difference in how male and female characters are framed often extends into the advertisements and box covers. Women's butts are front and center, and it's even become a depressing joke that their bodies are twisted and contorted in uncomfortable or unnatural ways so that their breasts and butt can be visible in the same shot.
First of all, none of them look contorted to me there, but okay, it's an editing mistake, I get it. But when you talk about how women are exploited in cover designs, I can't help but remember that Spider-Woman cover that got everyone in a hissy fit, when there's a cover almost identical of Spider-Man in the exact same pose. You want to see sexism, so you will see it. How many covers feature men showing their masculine muscles? I mean, it's like they're some kind of object or something. But no, if you ask feminists, that's wrong because it's showing off the male bravado.
In contrast, when men are depicted from behind, there's great effort taken to cover up their rear end, often with other images or shadows.
Selection bias, move on.
Of course, female characters can also be framed in ways that aren't objectifying. A good example of this is the episodic adventure game Life is Strange, in which the protagonist's butt isn't emphasized or centralized. The camera angles work in conjunction with the story to encourage us to identify with her as a human being.
Man, that scene you showed is just so riveting.
Sadly, the box art for the third-person action-adventure game Beyond Good and Evil emphasizes and sexualizes Jade's butt.
I know they say women say modest dress is the sexiest, but this certainly isn't sexy by society standards today, so, I don't see it being sexualized at all. Maybe if I get in closer. Closer? No, I still don't see any sexualizing here. Wait, let's backtrack a bit. Here's a pic of that guy, Nathan Drake, that you said wasn't sexually objectified. Let's compare. Yeah, I don't see how either of them are overtly sexual. Are you fucking kidding me? How is one sexual and one isn't? Oh, that's right, because it's a man. Men can't be objectified sexually, no. It's only women, you fucking retard.
The game itself, however, demonstrates that the Nathan Drake approach of outfitting a character in clothing that doesn't emphasize their butt.
How do you not see the irony here? This is just, like, baffling to me.
And not having the camera center it or focus on it can work just as well to humanize female characters as it does for male characters. So to be clear, the solution here is not to simply show more butts of male characters. Equal opportunity butt display is definitely not the answer.
I disagree. I say just make them all nude. Fuck it.
Rather, the solution is to de-emphasize the rear ends of female characters so that players are encouraged not to ogle and objectify these women.
You know, for someone without a penis, you sure seem to know a lot about men. Unless...
but to identify and empathize with them as people.
Crap, I'm having a shallow hell moment. Oh no. No!
I tried to get a glimpse of Batman's rear end.
That is something I can't unsee.
This is not an impossible task, given that game designers do this all the time with their male characters. It's time they started consistently doing it with their female characters too.
Anyways, guys, I got to the end of the video. I made it through somehow, but if you guys want to see more, you can check out my previous videos. Anita Sarkeesian Confronts the Amazing Atheist and the Sarkeesian McIntosh, 5 Ways to Indoctrinate Men into Feminism. If you like these videos, you can subscribe and you can give it a like. This is the Booze and Bullshit Show. Shit happens, and we make fun of it.